What's good, YouTube? This is Boxingwave. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to give you my final thoughts on Usyk and Dubois, which is happening this weekend. It's going down this Saturday, July 19th. It's going to be on the Zone pay-per-view for $60. Um, it's an early card. I think the card starts around 12 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Eastern. I will definitely be going on live, and I will be going on live for all the other fights later in the evening as well. But for this fight here, this is the rematch. This is a good fight, man. This is a really good fight, and it's a very dangerous fight for Alexander Usyk. I did a breakdown. This is not going to be a breakdown of the fight. Breakdown has a lot more details to it. You know, we talked about many things leading up to this actual fight here. We talk about the first fight. We talk about their careers before that. Um, but in this video, I just wanted to give you a few thoughts. I did rewatch the fight again. Okay, earlier this morning, I did get the chance to rewatch the rematch because I wanted to see if there's anything that I missed. I did view their face-off that they had, that they dropped earlier today. And, you know, I did read the comments from you guys. It was a good, I got a lot of good feedback. You know, there's definitely some people out there that think Dubois is going to pull off the upset. And there was a lot of people that, you know, still got Usyk winning. But listen, if you want to watch the breakdown, I'll definitely leave it. I'll drop it in the description and the comment section. All right. So look, I do think this is a really dangerous fight for Alexander Usyk, especially to take at this point. You know, when it comes to him, a lot of people are talking about his age. He is 38 years old now. But we already know that Usyk, like Crawford, like a few other fighters, they fully dedicate their lives to the sport. You know what I mean? I mean, they stay fit all year round, you know? So even if they're not fighting as actively, you know, they're getting older. The Usyk is not a guy that blows up in weight in between fights. So yes, he is getting older, but he's also probably more athletic than any other heavyweight that's currently boxing. And he has been for some time. Same with the cruiserweights when he was down there, you know? So even though he's getting older, you know, he is still very, very skilled. His boxing IQ is at the highest of, you know, he's one of the best boxers out there, you know, and he's one of the most athletic fighters out there. Cardio's always been great. So with that being said, I think, yes, he is getting older and he is slowing down with time. You know, naturally, you know, you're only going to slow down with time. But he's still very, very good, even at this time. We've seen him twice against Tyson Fury last year, right? And then we got Daniel Dubois, who's coming off some of his best wins. I mean, both of these guys had great years last year, right? Because Dubois had lost to Usyk back in 2023, but he had a phenomenal 2024 year. You know, he went in and fought Gerald Miller. No, that was in 2023, late that year, but he fought Gerald Miller. Beat him, stopped him late, stopped Filip Hrgovic, stopped Anthony Joshua. I mean, that's a great 3-win streak after losing to Usyk, you know? And those guys, those fighters are not Usyk, all right? They don't fight anywhere near similar to them. Usyk brings you know, plenty of other things that those fighters just don't have, all right? But I still believe that Dubois has a good chance. Basing off Usyk's age, I think it's going to be harder for Usyk the longer he boxes. But also because of what happened in the first fight. And I'm talking about the low blow. I think at first, you know, I didn't think, let me not say that. The rematch is justified. Daniel Dubois has picked up a title, all right? One of the titles that had to be dropped because Usyk needed to face him as a mandatory at some point. So he vacated the title. I think it's the second rematch with Tyson Fury, right? So listen, Daniel Dubois earned his spot, all right? He earned it. He had good wins. And I think even outside of those wins, I think that because of what happened in that low blow, I think is justified. I remember, I know a lot of people don't want to be honest anymore. I remember when it happened. I remember watching it live. When I watched it in real time, and even when I watch it over and over again, because I've seen it so many times at this point, in real time, it doesn't look that low. I know people are going to get on here in the comments. Oh, it's clearly low. Listen, I get it. I don't care. I It looks like it's right on the belt line. When it comes to the rules of the sport, a lot of people don't understand that you don't have to actually hit them in the balls for it to be a low blow. Okay? It's below the navel. That's the rules of the sport. I didn't create those rules. So officially it's low. In one angle, I think it looks, one side it looks a little lower than the other side does. Because I watch it compared. I made content on this. It is what it is. It happened. A lot of people focus on that because Usyk needed a lot of time to even get on his feet. And when I rewatched it today, I rewatched it and I saw Usyk take his time to get off the mat. He sat there for a while, and then when he stood up, it took a while for him to begin walking. It was a painful shot. He says he would have got up if it was called a knockdown. I don't believe so, okay? And this is why people feel that Dubois would have knocked him out if it wasn't called a low blow, okay? Um, Again, these are all of the reasons on why this fight is justified. I think the rematch should happen, but I'm also surprised at Usyk for taking it because Dubois has improved since then. His confidence is way up. He knows he can hurt Usyk, um, and I'm sure that part of the game plan is to spam right hand to the body. You know what I mean? Um, so at this moment, right now, I feel like Danny Dubois is probably the most dangerous opponent for Alexander Usyk, simply because he's a big, strong, powerful guy that has hurt Usyk in the past, even though it was illegal. He has hurt Usyk in the past. We've never seen Usyk that hurt in a professional fight. And he's just at a good stage in his career right now, this moment. And Usyk is still getting older, right? Danny Dubois is only 27 years old, which is crazy. Um, with that being said, I do believe that someone's going to get stopped, and I'll explain. When it comes to Usyk, I think he's aware of how dangerous Triple D is, and I think that there was a shift after he got back up on his feet. He began to fight much more aggressive after he got up. And at that point, I think he realized that the more Triple D would go to his body, the more dangerous he would be. I think Usyk knew he had to get him out of there. And I think in this fight, he's going to have the same approach. I don't think he's going to fight reckless, but I think he's going to be aggressive. I don't think that, even though he's very fundamentally sound, of course, he's going to be feinting, shooting a jab, doing all those tricks with his lead hand. He's going to be doing all of the things that we've seen. But I think he's going to have more intent to want to get him out, I think the longer that Triple D is around, the more dangerous, the longer he's going to be dangerous for Usyk. And I'm basing that off the first fight. I think there was a shift in the momentum after that moment where he was down. Triple D did attack the body more and more. Usyk did complain more as it was going. But his defense, a lot of his defense involved him just jumping out of range of that right hand to the body. So with Usyk, I think at some point, I don't think consistently, but I think he will be aggressive here. Danny Dubois is way better coming forward than he is going backwards. Usyk did a good job at keeping him on the back foot a lot of portion of that first fight. So I think Usyk is going to try to do the same. I think Daniel Dubois, with his confidence, I think with his coaching, his corner, the way they've been not just beating these last few guys, but when I look at Hrgovic, when I look at AJ, it's all about it was all about being strategic in those fights as well. And I think people are not really paying attention to that part. You know, um, planning was the reason why he won those fights as well. And I don't think it's going to change in this fight. I think he's going to go to the body more. Okay. But there's going to be a difference. Usyk, the veteran that he is, this is something that I said Lomachenko should have did when he fought Salido, but he didn't have the experience as a pro yet. Whenever Usyk was hit to the body, he would stop. He would look at Dubois. He would look at the ref. Some of those shots were not low. Some of them were. But he would just disrupt the rhythm of Triple D, and Triple D would lose focus of what was working for him because nothing else was working for him. So he kept going to the body. Sometimes it was low. But Usyk would stop, and Daniel would stop with him. If the ref does not jump in and separate you two and warn Daniel, Daniel should not be stopping what he's doing. The reaction of Usyk should not affect him. So with Daniel Dubois in this fight, I say if he wins, it's by knockout, because in the first fight, there was no other point in the fight where he was winning the fight. Outside of the knockdown or the low blow, there was no point in the fight where he was winning or where he was in control. Usyk was outboxing him and hitting him with big shots all the way through the fight. Jab, 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 straight left hand. Jab, 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 straight left hand. Dubois couldn't do anything. He was completely neutralized except for those body shots. But outside of those body shots, he had nothing for Alexander Usyk. He did. It wasn't a close fight. And this is why I originally picked Usyk to beat Daniel Dubois in this rematch, because I'm like, I know everybody's focus is on age and their focus on what should have happened after Usyk got dropped. But if you notice, as badly as he was hurt, as long as he was down, the amount of time he had to recover and everything, Daniel Dubois did not capitalize off it. Usyk still came back even stronger. And that's why I picked Alexander Usyk to win this rematch in my breakdown. Because I'm looking at, we're comparing a whole fight against one moment, one round, in which Alexander Usyk got up that round and won the rest of the round. You know, he hit him with one of the best shots in the fight in that same round. I'm talking about Usyk hitting Triple D. Triple D, he can't go in there and just spam into the body. Usyk is going to be waiting for it. What Triple D wasn't doing enough was feinting to the body and following up those right hands to the body with hooks. He did it sometimes. He didn't do it enough. He needs to mix it up a little bit. Change the punch variation a little bit. Feint a little bit. I know it's easier said than done, because whenever you feint, Usyk's feinting 5 more times. And he's shooting jabs. He's stepping in booth with that jab. Jabbing him to death. It's funny because Dubois lost to a fighter like Usyk from a jab. And Joe Joyce beat him with a jab as well. It's the jab. You can see his eye changing throughout the fight. You know, I know guys like Filip Hrgovic was throwing so many right hands, didn't affect Daniel Dubois. But yeah, Usyk and Joe Joyce jabbed him to death. And that's what put him down. So I think Usyk wins. I'm gonna stick to what I said. Usyk is gonna win this fight. I think he's gonna win by stoppage. I think he's gonna be more aggressive. I think Dubois is gonna be more aggressive. But I think him being more aggressive is gonna make him get caught more. I said the similar thing against with William Cepeda and Shakur Stevenson. I was just like, Cepeda throws a lot of punches, but is going to leave himself open to get countered more. And I think Usyk is going to counter more. I don't think Usyk will have to lead as much. He's going to counter and he's going to jab, but he's going to counter more in this fight simply because I expect Daniel Dubois to try to come forward more and throw more. And I think Usyk is going to, even though he's older, I still think he's going to outwork Daniel Dubois. All right, because Dubois does get tired. He has good cardio, but he does get tired. He's just good at masking it. But I've seen him slow down in fights. I think Usyk is going to stop him again. Um, he has to, because Triple D is always going to be dangerous. I think Triple D, if he does win, I think he does win by knockout, probably with a body shot. But if his team is smart, they should work on other things outside of just attacking the body. Or attack the body, but throw more punches. You know? Um, Everybody has a plan. We all heard the Mike Tyson line. Triple D, as confident as he is, I seen him at the presser or the face off they did, the sit down they did, and the face off that they did. I know Triple D is like focused. He's like, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna cause havoc, I'm gonna do all of this. Everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face. And the moment he starts getting hit with jabs, and this guy is doing his magic wand thing in the ring with his lead hand, it sounds good. You think you're gonna come in aggressive, but when you're getting punched and it hurts, it's gonna slow you down. You know, this is not Anthony Joshua. This is not Gerald Miller, who was out of shape. Anthony Joshua, who had the power and did hurt Triple D, but had his hands down. I mean, he was an easy target. This is not Philip Hergovich, who, soon as things got rough for him, he kind of quit mentally. I'm not talking about at the end of the fight. I mean, like, he got tired of the fight being hard. Usyk has been there. He's been there with Triple D. He's been there with Anthony Joshua. He's been in there with Tyson Fury. He's been in there with all of those guys. He's been in there with Derek Chisora was still tough. He's always had it difficult. None of those fights were easy for him. Majority of them were not. Maris Briedis was a difficult fight. He's been in there with a lot of tough fighters. And at some points of his fights, he was losing. I said this before in a breakdown. Some of his fights, he's down in the earlier rounds, in the first half. Tony Bellew. Nobody was landing better right hands against Usyk than Tony Bellew. Found a way to stop him anyway. And that's why I'm picking Usyk, because everybody's focusing on that moment. But Usyk still finished him off. Gotta go with the guy. It may be Triple D's moment. It might be. And I think it's a dangerous fight for Usyk. I actually respect Usyk for taking it now. But I still gotta go with Usyk, man. He's just too skilled. He's too tricky. But it's a very dangerous fight. I think the fight is going to be more competitive than the first one, but I still got Usyk winning. I think that's going to play into his strengths. And I'm talking about Usyk if Triple D is more aggressive. All right. So anyway, I will be here live this Saturday, July 19th. Okay. It's going to be early. What we're going to do is basically we're going to go live early for this card. And then we're probably going to take like an hour break, hour and a half break. And then we're going to get back on the PBC pay-per-view with Manny Pacquiao and also the DAZN card with Jesse Bam Rodriguez. And we'll cover both of them at the same time. All right, y'all have a good day. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.